In July 2008, police in Orange County, Florida, received a call that led to one of America's most high-profile criminal cases: the disappearance and death of 2-year-old Caylee Anthony and the question of whether her mother, Casey Anthony, was involved. Now, 10 years after the trial, she's being interviewed in a new docuseries to tell her version of the story. And you might be asking, why wait so long and why now is she saying this? And the docuseries is called Where the Truth Lies. So let's get down to it and let's find those reasons that could be much darker than you might think. Welcome back, my Body Language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Body Language guy. And let's first review the fast facts of the case to get up to speed. On August 9, 2005, Casey Anthony, 19 at the time, gives birth to a daughter, Caylee Marie Anthony. The identity of Caylee's father has not been publicly revealed. In June 16, 2008, Caylee is reportedly seen alive for the last time. 31 days later, the grandmother, Cindy Anthony, reports that Caylee is missing. The next day, Casey is arrested for child neglect, giving false statements and obstruction. She tells police her daughter vanished after she left her with a babysitter who has also disappeared. On July 17, officers search Anthony's car and a cadaver dog picks up the scent of human decomposition. On August 27, authorities say an air sample test from Anthony's car indicate there were human remains in the trunk. In October, a grand jury indicts Anthony on capital murder and other charges. She pleads not guilty. On December, skeletal remains are found in a wooded area near the Anthony home by a utility worker, and 1 week later, authorities announce the remains have been identified as Caylee Anthony. During the trial, forensic expert Arpad Vaz testifies that the only plausible explanation for the odor in Anthony's car trunk is the presence of a decomposing human body. Finally, on July 5, 2011, the 7 women and 5 men of the jury deliberate for 10 hours and 40 minutes before coming back with a verdict of not guilty of first-degree murder. In August 2011, a report is released by Florida's Department of Children and Families, concluding that Anthony is responsible for the death of her daughter. The report says the actions or the lack of actions by the alleged perpetrator ultimately resulted or contributed in the death of the child. And this is important. In 2013, Casey Anthony files for Chapter 7 bankruptcy protection. She claims to have almost $800,000 in liabilities with just $1,000 in assets. Now, let's take a look at this picture. That is Casey Anthony. Well, we can guess that she was having a good time, right? Well, this picture was taken at a nightclub during those 31 days that her 2-year-old daughter was missing. And one of the highlights of this documentary is that she's gonna explain the reasoning behind why was she acting like this in those days. But it seems that Casey Anthony claims she was working, not partying at clubs after Caylee's disappearance. Anthony shocked the world with her antics after Caylee vanished in June 2008. She took part in hot body contests at clubs and danced the night away. Now, she claims she was working to help her nightclub promoter boyfriend. She maintains her father, George, the grandfather of Caylee, had taken Caylee from her at the time. Now, I have to tell you, I was not familiar with Casey Anthony's case, but when I found this, this triggered all my BS alarms. And the way she's throwing her father under the bus 10 years after doesn't help her. She maintains that she thought Caylee was alive, that her father George was keeping her captive, and that he was instructing her to pretend everything was okay. I just tried to be as normal as I could. That was part of the main instruction from my dad. Be as normal as possible. I couldn't show that there was anything going on. Well, in many ways, it's concerning that this was her idea of acting normal. Again, just to put it in perspective, how could you act like this if your 2-year-old was missing or captive or you didn't even know if she was alive? Still, the question remains, why is she doing this docuseries now? Why is she doing this interview to tell her own side of the story? And I have an idea that after certain events in the past couple years, I'm sure she thinks she's got a shot at redemption just because Amber heard. And by the way, just 24 hours ago, more than 130 feminist groups signed an open letter to Amber Heard, including Gloria Steinem and Women's March Action, released an open letter in support of Amber Heard 5 months after the verdict in the defamation case between Heard and ex-husband Johnny Depp. We saw that trial from beginning to end. There was no stone unturned. There was no secret. We saw all the witnesses. We heard all the arguments. And yes, we saw their body language too. Now, I shouldn't be surprised, because I am surprised that Amber Heard still has fans, still has people vouching for her in spite of having seen the trial. Because I guess that these people that signed this petition watched the trial, right? Did they watch it? Now, the Depp v. Heard trial set a very important precedent. That yes, men can also be victims. Being a victim is not exclusive to women. But it also set a second and more dangerous and dark precedent. That no matter if the truth is on your face, is slapping you, and the facts and evidence are screaming at the top of their lungs, there will be millions of people that are gonna still side with the abuser. Think about that for a second. So it's no surprising at all the timing of this docuseries on Casey Anthony and how she wants the spotlight again on something that, well, it's not gonna end well for her. Because she might be counting on the part of the public opinion that is going to side with her. Because there are people that are going to side with her on this. But the vast majority of the people that look at the facts and who have their BS detectors on or have just a bit of common sense, well, that ain't going to be pretty. Because tell me if it's not a very convenient coincidence that Casey is throwing her dad under the bus, the only male remotely related to the incident. Tell me it doesn't sound familiar in many ways. And you know how this kind of personalities like to reframe the facts. Because in the teaser she says, "I lied, but nobody asked me why." Is that making it about herself or what? I'll be analyzing this docuseries as soon as it airs, so don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss any of my body language analysis and tips. And don't forget to download my 100 body language tips right in the description of this video. My body language buddies, my name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. And remember, much love and bliss.